It's Tuesday, so you get the Spike Week football show. I had to infiltrate the draft show last night, deal with that peasant Silas, and just show him how you actually conduct yourself on stream. It's all right. Don't worry about it, Silas. We're good. Uh, buy him for his birthday. Thought he could just, s- screw Silas and not have himself draft the team with him. But I'm here to save the day, just like every day. So I have Eaglezzz on the show today. All of you know him. If you've drafted a best ball team, you've been in a draft with him. So we're gonna hit the intro and then we're gonna talk to Eaglezzz. Definitely need to spice that intro up a little bit, but I am here with Eaglezzz. What's going on, man?
Hi, not much. Thanks for having me on, Rob. Yeah, I was gonna say that intro, man. Whoever did that for you was incredible work right there.
Oh, the music's great, but I need to, just make it a little bit more pizzazz. So if you've drafted best ball, specifically probably on Underdog, but other sites as well, no matter if it's football, basketball, hell, I saw you in some of my hockey drafts. You're firing at all these best ball contests. What made you get into best ball?
I mean, when in my youth or whatever, I just love fantasy football. I love that draft aspect of it, and all those like childhood memories are coming back with every draft I enter. It's just a lot of fun. I like hitting all the tournaments, all the sports, just to kind of roll over my bankroll. It's like people might think I have this huge bankroll, but I don't think that's really the case. So I just kind of keep rolling it over, keep playing all the stuff, and hopefully I hit.
And you have Underdogs sending you cactuses and stuff, and all I asked them for was for a badge, and I don't even get my badge. So clearly Underdog likes you more than they like me.
I bet you're pretty close to that badge here. You step it up.
So when you're doing your best ball stuff, is there a sport that you prefer more than others, or are you a football guy and you've just kind of dabbled in the other stuff?
I'm probably the worst at baseball. That's pretty obvious every time I look at those numbers. Basketball, kind of probably the next lowest on the hockey. I grew up in Canada. I grew up playing hockey, followed hockey. That was my sport as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
NFL, when I moved to the US and kind of was a little bit older, I just love football. So I used to have season tickets to the Toronto Argonauts. So back in the day. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into football. Older brother, he loved it. So watched it with him every Sunday.
Yeah, I think my rankings for my best ball sports is around the same. I probably best in football, somehow second best in hockey. I don't know anything about it. I know I'm lucky to know the Bruins starting line, to be honest with you, at whatever point. I should be better in basketball than I am, but I'm not. And baseball, I clearly know nothing about baseball. I can't. I have a tough time watching baseball, but it is what it is. Are you attacking? What are you doing for this best ball season? Is there things you learned from last year that you are trying to implement more this year?
Definitely every year is I'm just growing. I'm learning just like everyone else. So I'm reading whatever I can. I'm listening to your guys' podcast, all the podcasts out there on best ball.
Mm-hmm.
And it's growing so much. And that's so fun. But yeah, as far as drafts go, I'm learning as I go as well. I'm talking to anybody I can, trying to see how they're thinking. And then obviously not that I always have pushback or different ideas, but I think that's important to everyone
Absolutely.
to share their ideas, because there's no perfect way to draft. Sure, you're going to have like little edges that maybe like 0.01% is going to increase your odds of winning. But there's so many variables in these best balls, and the game theory is just everybody can have have a different way of thinking about it. And that's what brings me back over and over. And I don't think I'm trying to solve it. I'm just trying to improve and have shots in the end, right? You just want
Right.
you want those teams in the end and try to cash.
Yeah, I always look at it as I've played a lot of poker. Like that's kind of was my thing for a long time. It's taken a backseat a little more recently. But learning poker, it's very important to understand every situation that you approach while playing. Have an open mind to discuss poker with other people that are better than you and not as good as you so that you can see the different perspectives. But you have to have the open mind. And all the bad poker players that I know, they continue to be bad because A, they will not invite discussion, and B, everything is always somebody else's fault. Right. So when you're constructing your best ball teams or trying to lay out your strategy, taking it all in, it doesn't mean that just because you hear something, you have to agree with it, but just understanding that point of view and that perspective that people are presenting. Does that make sense?
No, I actually love the how you put that. And I think, yeah, throw that in an article. That's great advice right there. So I think that we need more thinking like that in our community. So I think that goes a long way. And I think that's what you want to be humble. You don't want to be slamming on Twitter that you're the greatest of all time. And I mean, it's fun to throw the screenshots up, and obviously the whole end goal is to try to take down these tournaments. But at the same time, you kind of have to help others along as well as you're getting helped. So,
and if you're not having fun, it's not worth it, right? So like I see all the poker players that used to just go and be miserable. If you're drafting 200 teams and you're not having fun, what are you doing? Like it's not worth it at that point. But I think the good thing about best ball is poker is a pretty toxic community. And from what I've seen with best ball, it is way more inviting, way more open to discussion. Like, yeah, people are going to roast each other here and there. I screw with BBM3 all the time because it's fun. But at the end of the day, I respect the hell out of Eric. Don't tell him I said that. And I enjoy just like having those discussions. Like, we joke about Trey Lance and I'm not going to draft him, but I like to hear why people want to, like what their perspective on. And I understand the perspective. I just don't agree with it. I just, so you got to be open to that stuff is kind of where I'm going with that.
100%. Yeah, I love that. I love your guys' banter on the Trey Lance. So keep it up.
Yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon because I can't do it, man. I don't. 6th round Trey Lance. Is there anything you've noticed in drafts this year that are different than last year? Last night we were talking about how to get your quarterback or 2 quarterbacks, you have to get them by the 9th round almost, and sometimes earlier. So that's like one of the things I'm noticing trending differently than last year.
Yeah, I've actually been super aggressive on QB this year. So if you're in some of my drafts and even probably on drafters, even a lot more. So that I'm taking 2 quarterbacks probably by like around 7 or 8 sometimes. So like that's, if you look at all the numbers and all it's probably not a great thing to do, but I just feel like it kind of gives me an advantage this year. So I don't know
Right.
if I'm doing it right or wrong. And I think in a month from now, everything's going to adjust and shift again. And then I can hit all those late round quarterbacks. So I'm going to mix and match.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely happens like that. So I think at this point, the best thing to do is to actually jump in a draft, and we can kind of talk through it and see what we agree on and don't agree on. So let me share my screen. Let's jump in a Best Ball Mania. $25. Cool. So what do we got here? We're waiting for 6 people. Do you have a spot that you like this year? Like currently, I know that can change, but is there something in a spot where you're like, that's where I love starting right now?
I think like the 5th. I like 5th spot.
Yeah.
That's my favorite because then you just get whoever's left over, and then it kind of gives you
Yep.
an advantage of down the line. But even like 6th, 7th, I don't mind. I don't mind I don't mind Harris there too. If all the receivers are gone and I have to settle for Harris, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, Harris is fine as well. I personally like the 5th as well because I'm taking, one of those Taylor Cup, McCaffrey, Jefferson, whoever of those
Yep.
5 is left. Like, to me, Henry's like the next tier of guys. So I'm grabbing one of those guys, and then I don't have to think about it, right? I'm not sitting there at 4th and like, oh, do I want Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase? It's like I don't have to make that choice, and I'm getting the better pick on the turnaround, and then the guy that's getting the other. Well, take that back. Yeah, I'm getting the better guy. Sorry, I was looking at a comment that reminded me to tell everybody to make sure that you press the like button on this video and subscribe to either the YouTube or the iTunes version and leave us a review. Now that housekeeping's out of the way. If you're sitting in the lobby watching us draft, you should jump in with us while we wait for these other 6 people to jump in. Have you noticed since that $5 DK one has launched that these are filling a little bit, taking a little longer to fill?
It's whatever tournament's available, right? Throughout that people are gonna jump in and want to play, and whatever everyone's talking about, right? So yeah, DK probably got a little buzz when they first opened up, but I'm sure it'll even back out. I think once you look at the formats, like when this one first got launched, I was like, this is ridiculous. Like you have to beat almost 500,000 people, and then DK launches theirs, and I'm like, okay, you have to beat 1 million people to win 1 million. Like,
yeah.
I might as well just play the Millionaire Maker every week and try to do, like I've been doing that for 5-6 years, So that's kind of where we're coming with DK right now, I feel like. But
yeah, I found like what they released as interesting because last year they had their big $20 tournament, and that was the one that I max entered, to be honest. I'm on record as saying I thought the DK tournaments were softer. Of course, I end up hitting the Underdog finals instead with out of my like 45 teams on Underdog for Best Ball Mania. But I liked how much the teams that I was drafting were over my Underdog teams at the time. So I was firing there, and they just got rid of that $20 tournament, it feels like, this year, unless they're going to launch it later. So I found their strategy for release interesting.
Yeah, well, as a player, as a customer, like it's amazing right now just to have so many options, right? And it's still pretty early, so there's going to be a lot coming out, and I feel like these companies are they're gonna try to jump over top of the other guy to get the business, right? So now, so it's good for us. So I think you can pick and choose a lot more what you want to use your bankroll on and what kind of contest selection you want to choose, and I think that is going to be a big key for anybody playing this year is to really watch those things in your game and your personal, and kind of have some goals along the way. Kind of.
I thought
obviously I think
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I think obviously everyone's goal is to win top prize, $2 million or $1 million or whatever's listed there, but
right.
Also, it doesn't hurt. It's like, hey, and I've kind of said this with some of my friends that, hey, my goal this year is to win 50K. Like that's what I don't need to win $2 million. Like that's for me, that would be a great season. I kind of had similar goals last year, and I achieved those. So, and every year I'm just trying to make those new goals and seeing how I can get to that end goal.
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it. Like you're doing what you can to make a team viable for 2 million, but you're setting your realistic expectations. So Terrence brings up that DK is way less sharp by order of magnitude, which is true. I mean, obviously more people at the moment have DraftKings. I find it interesting that the people that seemingly aren't that sharp are drafting in May already. You would think that it would still just be more sharp players than not at this point. But I think I told somebody the other day I got Cooper Kupp at like the 107 a couple nights ago, and I was just like, what is happening in this draft right now? So I find it interesting, like just some of the just it's always a big difference, but earlier in the year, I don't think that you should expect those differences, and they still happen. You know what I mean? Like you just think that the sharper players would be drafting more earlier, but everyone wants to jump in. Everybody loves the draft.
No, I mean that's the advantage if you're like a multi-entry kind of guy and you're gonna put in hundreds of teams, that you're gonna find rooms like that along the way, and you're gonna find those more unique builds in your portfolio, which is great.
Your first year, did you enter a lot of teams or not so many?
I'm trying to think. Like I started on MFL 10s, or was that what they were called at the time? So I did probably
Mhm.
like maybe like 30 or 40. That was my first year, and then draft came along, and I a few hundred. Second year draft, I was like in the thousands, and then Underdog. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep drafting those until I hit zero in my bank account.
Fair enough. DKB says, out of 7 best ball manias, I've never been inside the 108. It's so annoying. Hey man, we all go on those stretches. It's unfortunately part of the game. I had a stretch like that where I was drafting the 111 or 112. It felt like 2 out of every 3 times for 20 straight drafts. And then it swings the other way. It's like coin flips and poker. I'm just going to compare everything to poker this stream. You're supposed to win 50%, but sometimes you're hitting 80% and then you're losing 80% at some point. So
Yeah, and I don't think it's a bad thing either, because any of these players could get hurt or have a down season or things like that. So it's not the worst. It's going to mix and match who you get.
right, and it makes your teams become more unique because you're like, well, I already drafted this pairing from this spot, so maybe I should be doing this, and maybe I should be doing this. So if you drafted from the like, say you drafted from the 6th spot 150 times and you made sure all your teams were different, you probably get a massive edge there too, just because of the players that are available to you at that point.
Yeah, so I've entered 27 Best Ball Mania 3s, and I have not got one share of Jonathan Taylor. So I've never had the 101.
Oh, wow.
So
All right. We are on the clock at the 4 spot, and we have Jefferson and Chase on board. Do you have a preference?
I like mix and matching them. So I think Jefferson's easier to get a stack with later. Chase, you can still get Higgins. So I kind of like always going Jefferson a little bit more, and then the chance to get Higgins in like the second or third.
Okay. We'll take Justin Jefferson and see how the draft lays for us. I haven't drafted in the top 5 in a while myself, so it's a breath of fresh air to have Jefferson.
Mhm.
Is there anyone in the first round that you're just like, absolutely not, I'm not drafting this guy?
Derrick Henry, I will not draft, which is he's just not my guy, and I just don't like. I don't know. I love Derrick Henry, but I'm just not going to take him where he's going.
I understand the argument. I'm not quite there on that ship because there's other guys in the first round I'm not touching. I'm not touching Eckler.
Eckler's another one. Henry and Eckler are both kind of voids. I'd rather have Najee Harris over both.
I think I'd rather have Najee over both of them as well. I'm also not taking Dalvin Cook in the first round.
I think that's good too. I think he should be a second round pick.
Yeah, so those are my main first round avoidances at the moment. And do you feel like it falls off faster this year than it did last year?
Yeah, definitely. So I think it's guys like Diggs and Lamb, or maybe Kelsey and Mark Andrews that you kind of almost want to consider. And like Mixon probably should be. I probably don't mind Mixon just up there with Henry and Eckler as well. So I don't know. It's definitely, I don't like picking in the back half of the first.
Yeah, it's tough. We have a question for you in the chat. Says, recently Eaglezzz said on Twitter he is only doing tournament best ball. Why? Is it better returns?
Just the time you put into them. Last year I thought I was smarter than everyone, and I did like 1,000 of these 3-mans, and I thought I was going to make this killer return on my money, and I ended up like breaking even or a little bit. Actually, I lost money in cash last year. So the only reason I think overall I was up 6% in the regular season of best ball.
I think I only did one cash game last year on Underdog, and it was by mistake because I didn't get Underdog until last year, and I was trying to jump in a draft with Overzet. and I was just clicking real quick on Underdog to jump in and like sign in, and I picked the cash game instead of picking, the whatever tournament he was doing, and it's that. So then I went back. I'm like, wow, I am such a boomer, but it is what it is.
I think it's fun doing those kind of cash ones with friends and things like that. Or like for a while there, I'd just put one up, like a $3 one every day on Twitter or something. And that's fun because then you get the community engaged and you can kind of, just razz on each other. Just like, why'd you pick him? And then you can kind of learn too. So that's the only time I'm doing those really now this year.
Right. We are on the clock. So where would you normally be going here?
I mean, Tyreek Hill keeps going down. He's got Evans. I love Evans is awesome. We don't know about Godwin. I'm fine with either one of those two.
We'll take Tyreek. We were having a Tyreek discussion last night, so it feels good. And just to get back to the whole cash game with friends and razzing each other, I think maybe you're gonna like the announcement that we make with Spike Week. I think we're gonna do it tonight. We have something fun planned, and that's about all I can say right now. But I think we're announcing it later tonight.
Like a Twitter championship or something.
Well, you might be close.
Yeah,
a little close. But I'm involved, so it's going to be a little more dramatic. So you guys will see. We have a video dropping. It's been ready for about 3 weeks, but dealing with Eric Bimfor. Doesn't like to release anything. Thinks he gets to take his whole birthday month off. So Javonte is AJ Brown's falling to the third. Wow, this draft's a little interesting. Josh Allen to the third. Where are you on AJ Brown? That's been a big point of contention for people on Twitter.
I mean, I'm a huge Eagles fan, so I was super excited, but I think I like AJ Brown, obviously, and the third round for him is great. I kind of like it that it kind of pushes all the other Eagles values down a little bit.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Like Devontae Smith is, I love that he keeps falling because you can get him later on, and I mean, just like Tyreek Hill, you take him in the second round. And you have Jefferson and Tyreek. Like that's an incredible start, in my opinion.
Well, Dorito just ruined our day by taking AJ Brown right before us. 20 seconds on the clock. Is there anyone jumping out to you?
What's the whole list of? Okay, going down. I mean, you could go Waddle and do the double stack if you wanted. Deontay Johnson, I don't mind. You could go Pitts too. I don't know. Put somebody in the queue.
Let's double stack it. I don't know if I have a Tyreek Waddle double stack yet, so I'm not opposed to doing that. And that reminds me, we were talking about the Eagles. We're talking about, Tua's targets. We did finally hit 600 subs on Spike Week. So as promised, I'm giving away a Jalen Mills jersey from his time with the Eagles. It's a stitch jersey. You have to be subscribed to Spike Week. You have to be subscribed to Hometown Ghost Stories as well. That's my other show. And I will have like a Google Doc or something in the Discord this week for you to sign up with. And you sign up onto that, and I will spin a wheel next Tuesday, and I will give that jersey away. And at 8:50, I think I said we're giving away a Tua jersey. So I didn't forget. That's all. I just wanted to make sure that everyone know I didn't forget. Travis Reed said his Dorito said he couldn't pass up on AJ. I mean, for the brand, you could have just like given it to us. I'm with Eagles. Like we could have drafted an Eagle. Felix wants to know what's your highest exposure.
I don't know. So Underdogs they split up everything, right? So that's like pre-draft, post-draft, or now currently. So I don't know exactly how to give you an answer. Like, pre-draft, it was Devontae Smith. Like he was my highest owned. I was like, and then they trade for AJ Brown, which is fine. Like maybe I lost a couple of rounds of value, but it's best ball and it's fine. Life goes on.
Right. I would say more so in line with Best Ball Mania would be what I would think they would want to know.
Okay, yeah, Best Ball Mania, I've done 28 teams or 27 teams. my highest owned. Like, I don't like to look at it until after I hit like 200 or 300.
Right.
So to me, this doesn't mean anything. But yeah, Khalil Herbert's my number one, 46%, just because he's
Fair.
crazy value. Like
Just
Noah
just
Font.
to interrupt you, we are on the clock.
Yeah, I'm going.
And
I'd go Lamar.
yeah, that's exactly where I was looking. So we'll take Lamar, and we will let you continue your.
Oh
So
no.
Khalil Herbert, you have your highest exposure.
Yeah, no Fant. Mike Williams. Mike Williams, 42%. I think he is a crazy value right now. I'm not drafting Keenan Allen. Like, I'd
Mhm.
rather Keenan Allen's ADP. I'd rather draft Mike Williams right at that ADP. So you can get him like around later. So I like Mike Williams a lot. James Conner there. He's what, 5th on my list. Kenneth Gainwell's up there.
I have a decent amount of Gainwell. I'm fading Connor this year.
No.
I understand what he did last year with Arizona, and I know he's supposedly the lead back. And maybe it's just like, PTSD from his time with the Steelers, never staying on the field.
Mhm.
But I worry about him creeping up there in age and already being a gigantic injury prone player, that he's just, he had that one magical year and he's just going to fall right back off.
Yeah, I just kind of like, obviously you can't predict touchdowns. You can't chase those touchdowns, but
Right.
underdog, you just really want touchdowns. And
That's also a good point.
And it's like Kyler Murray. Like, I want good offenses. I want running backs in really good offenses because they can get down to the 1 yard line quick, right? And Connor just punches it in. So like, those are the running backs I want, obviously. And then I tell you, Herbert's my number one exposure for the Bears. But
no, but you kind of sometimes you fall in love with guys in that 13th, 14th, 15th round, and you end up drafting a ton of them, and it's either really good or it's a leak in our game, because I'm the same way. And it's like, well, should I be trying to get different players in this area when I'm drafting them so high? But with Khalil Herbert, you're like, he's a guy that could jump way up if certain news breaks over the next 2 months with that team.
He's so cheap. What are you doing here? You can stack Dobbins with Lamar, or you can probably want to go running back, I would say.
Dobbins with Lamar is fun because I don't think I've drafted Dobbins yet.
Yeah,
so
he's been one of my big fades, but just the way this team's falling, he might be
let's do it. Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Yeah, and there's not many people you want to stack with Lamar, right? You'd have to get Andrews in that second, third round, wherever he's going right now. I don't know because I'm not drafting him because he's too high.
You should be able to get Bateman next round.
But that's the thing, is the only other one is Bateman.
Mm-hmm.
Who else are you taking?
Duvernay in 18th round if he's there. Yep.
I mean, and then you're handcuffing yourself to that 18th round, which isn't bad. But the point is, it's not like he's Russell Wilson where it's like, well, I guess I missed on Jerry Jeudy. I missed on Albert Akuibunum. I missed on Cortland Sutton. I can still get Tim Patrick or KJ Hamler and feel like there's justifiable outs to them. Who are the justifiable outs in Baltimore?
Don't get me started on Tim Patrick. He's one of my favorite. I think he should. I would love it if he ends up being the top receiver there. And I don't know. I think there's like a 5%, 10% chance that could happen.
Yeah. Does your drafting strategy change when on DK drafters or Underdog?
I would say I'm probably 85, 90% on Underdog. That's where I'm doing most of my drafts. Probably like 10% or 5-10% on drafters, and then I'm maybe like 5-10% on DraftKings. So that's where I'm at. But obviously, yeah, they're different formats. I haven't figured out DraftKings at all. It's yeah, I think the rooms are softer, but I'm so used to ADP and everything on Underdog, so I think I'm just like going one site to the next and kind of have my brain's not clicking over to that site.
My answer to that question is it should change a little, but you shouldn't be going out of your way to change your strategy. Like, you should allow it to be a tiebreaker. So if you're looking at Tyreek and you're looking at Jalen Waddle, like back to back, those two guys, maybe Waddle's a little bit better for DraftKings because he might catch more passes. And Tyreek Hill is like a guy that's going to put up 40 because he's going to score touchdowns, like long touchdowns. We can continue this conversation in a minute. So we are on the clock. We have one quarterback, one running back, three wideouts. Do you want to hammer wide receiver again? Are you going to be looking to get a running back? What is your play here?
That's your call. I know you, on brand, you guys don't like those running backs, but especially Jacobs, he's the kind of guy I would take, to be honest. But
I don't hate Josh Jacobs the way other people do, especially at this price point at the end of the 6th round.
Mm-hmm.
He was what, a 3rd rounder last year, I want to say, where people didn't like him. Well, now he's fallen to a point where you're like, well, he's a 6th rounder. He should have the majority of the work in that backfield in the division that we want to have every single piece of that we can get. And they should be in shootouts most of the year. So he should be getting opportunities to score touchdowns at a high clip. And it's why I would prefer a guy like Josh Jacobs over a guy like Travis Etienne. Personally.
Yeah, I'm not. Etienne's one of the other fades, like Dobbins and Etienne. And obviously, you're thinking about last year, right? So you try not to get that in your head, and you should be thinking, yeah, they're going to recover. They're going to be in these offenses that are going to use them. But I just can't. I have a hard time just slotting those in at their current prices. So I haven't been on those guys.
All right, we're coming back up on the clock. And would you be looking to go tight end here, or would you be looking to go more running back? I find Hawkinson interesting.
Yeah, I don't mind Hawkinson.
Let's star him, and we'll just kind of scroll. The Sky Moore thing is out of control.
Yeah, I'm not on Sky Moore.
It's out of control.
Ayuk's decent. Like I like Dillon at the top too for running back. Green Bay has just no pass catchers, and as much as Aaron Jones should be a 2nd round pick right now, and I think Dillon should be more like 5th or 6th round pick.
Yeah, you think that they can sustain both of them, or you're just hoping to hit on one?
No, I think both of them. Well, I think both of them. I just like, who's going to catch the balls there? Like, it's nothing.
Well, I think he's just going to concentrate. He's going to find his one guy to concentrate on. I think Tanyan's going to get a lot of the work there. That's why I like him as I think he's a good value where he's going, which is, I think, the 13th, 14th round. Just off the top of my head. But it's going to be Watson, probably Tanyan. And we know that they don't try to run an up-pace offense there. So I think that's all you need is one of the backs, but I think it's going to be Aaron Jones. I don't know. I worry about that Packers offense altogether.
No, I think A.J. Dillon and Tony Pollard, like those two names I'm so interested in both of those guys this year. I don't know why, but I like them more, obviously, as like a running back 3 on my team. So yeah, trying to slot them in as your running back 2 is kind of a little bit more iffy, maybe.
I understand the Pollard thing because I like Pollard a lot. I think he should be the starter there. He should get more work than he does. I think what we forget as fantasy players sometimes is, especially with the Dallas Cowboys, they're not just worried about their front office. That owner dictates what that team does. And if that owner is dictating for that team to play Ezekiel Elliott and to run Ezekiel Elliott, you know what they're going to do? They're going to run Ezekiel Elliott. So that one team, I try to, remember all of that when I'm drafting as well.
I should hate the Cowboys, right? So they're my enemy, but yeah.
Hey, I personally grew up an Eagles and Patriots fan. Randall Cunningham, I'm on record as saying, is the reason that I even got into football.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I have a Cunningham helmet back here, but it's a little bit lower, a little tough to see. Maybe towards the end of the stream, I'll show it off. But yeah, it's the Cowboys. You got to understand that's a different thing that team deals with. We make fun of Daniel Snyder in Washington, but he's never gotten like involved in the way that Jerry Jones has. He's just a bad owner. He's not a guy trying to coach the team from the owner's box, So I think that's a big problem that fantasy players have in general is they forget that just because we think something doesn't mean the team thinks the same thing.
No,
And
that's fair.
and I see that happen a lot, and you're like, well, what does the team think? Yeah, we thought that the Seahawks should have thrown the ball 40 times a game last year, but we know that they're not going to do that, right? Based on who their head coach is. So, we were talking about him. Do you want to go Pollard here?
I'd go Damien Harris. What's the whole click on running back? What's the whole? Aren't you a Patriots fan?
I am.
Yeah.
But I think that I like Harris as well. We can go Harris and see what else falls to us on the turnaround.
I mean, you can go Pollard. I think Pollard may be a little more upside, but like Harris is just, I think he's devalued right now. I don't understand why.
Well, I think it's the uncertainty with the Patriots backfield.
Well, they just said Strong's going to be the long-term replacement to James White, and it's just going to be Harris and Stevenson. Like they're going to get lots of work.
I don't know if it's just going to be Harris and Stevenson though. It's going to be Harris, Stevenson, and they are going to mix James White in. So they don't re-sign James White to not play him. They love him there. They love him as that third down back. So how much is that going to – not that Damien Harris is a third down running back, but you start mixing in Harris with Stevenson, with White, and I just think it's a recipe for disaster. I also wouldn't be shocked if you see Damien Harris get traded at some point in the next month or two.
Wait, his contract's up this year?
Yeah.
No. Or they could just run him dead.
That's the other thing that they could do. It's just Bill's weird, and I don't want to get into that conversation right now. But that team, it's a frustrating team to root for sometimes. I know they've won 6 Super Bowls, but a lot of the stuff they've done the last 3 years, especially with their roster, is just ugh. So we are going to be coming back up in a few more picks. Right now, we have Lamar, we have J.K. Dobbins for the stack. We've got Damian Harris, we got Justin Jefferson, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, and TJ Hawkinson. I actually like the way this team is shaping up right now.
Yeah, you got 2 running backs on bye week 10, I guess, if you care about that.
Nah, it's fine. Yeah. We'll be fine. We'll get more. I'm sure we'll get more.
So what are you thinking here then?
Well, I don't think we need to get another quarterback at the moment, which is sometimes something I would be thinking about.
I think you want Tua, right? But you probably want them in
around
11.
We definitely want Tua. I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, sorry. It's just like hockey. It just blew the shutout for the goalie.
So I almost wonder if we should be going with another running back here.
I like Kenneth Walker upside, especially in this kind of a tournament. You're going to need guys second half of the season to hit big for you.
Yeah,
I like Singletary as well.
Singletary was where I was looking, but we'll go with Walker because I don't have a lot of Walker. So we'll mix this team up a bit. It'll be a little different. Yeah, I was looking at the receivers and I'm like, well, I don't absolutely love anybody here. There's some guys that I like, and there's some running backs there that I would rather have. Mm-hmm. So I know we're kind of doing one of those builds where we're mixing both the wide receivers and the running backs, and neither core is going to be super strong, but I don't think that's a big deal. I think you can still hit on some spike week guys that will really help your team later in the draft.
We also got sniped on Pollard 1 pick before us, huh?
Yeah. Was that Dorito again?
Nah, probably.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Of course.
I bet you his team looks really nice.
Well, yeah, he's taking everybody that we want. So let's pull it up. So he's got Brady, Jacobs, Cordero Patterson, Tony Pollard, Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, AJ Brown.
Those receivers are nice, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, so this is a great team to have Michael Thomas on, right?
Yeah. That's when you want Michael Thomas, right? Your 5th receiver. I like that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so his team's nice, but whatever, Dorito.
I I might have put a tweet out there just like a couple days ago about Michael Thomas, and like every Saints fan in the whole country just came like
Oh yeah, I remember that.
it was my favorite one I've ever done, I think.
They were talking about why they should never take you seriously or something like that. I saw
Oh,
that.
it was awesome.
It was great. I'm hoping to get one of those engagement tweets one day where everyone calls me an idiot, especially when it's something that I don't care that much about. Just them going absolutely nuts. We're actually going to be coming back up relatively soon. Let's go through our team again real quick. We got Lamar, Dobbins, Harris, Kenneth Walker, Jefferson, Hill, Waddle, Smith, Hawkinson. So we can kind of go wherever we want coming up.
Yeah,
here.
I'd probably put a few guys in the queue here. I mean, you can put 2 in the queue, but I don't think you want to take him.
Well, I think we got to take him with one of our next 2 picks, to be honest, if we are going to take him.
Yeah. If anyone else took him here, that's just like a waste of pick for them.
That's true.
See, I'm trying to tell them not to take him.
So I would be looking. Ooh, who would you say?
Oh, no. It's a bad strategy, so I won't mention it.
Okay. I hate saying it, but I kind of like Kenny Golladay in the spot that you can get him now.
Yeah, you're wide receiver 5. He's there's some upside there, but it also could just be like garbage pick too. So
it could be that Giants team could be an abomination again. That is definitely in the range of outcomes. But
I was going to mention Rashad Penny, but somebody just took him. People hate the Rashad Penny and Walker combo, and for the Seahawks, right? Seahawks are they have the Seahawks down as like the Texans last year, like do not touch this team for any kind of purpose. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like the double there, the Walker and Penny, just how cheap they are in these like 9th, 10th, 11th round. You can get both.
Is there any other running backs you're looking at here that you like?
Yeah, I'm not on Pierce. That's way too early. I like Stevenson, but you already have Harris. Gordon is, I don't know. I'm kind of getting talked into him. I really like Madison. I think Madison's a really good buy.
I screwed the queue up and we took Tua. It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, you got both receivers, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it. It's not like a travesty. I should have.
What's his ADP? Like, how much over do we?
I think it was 11 spots. It was.
That could be worse.
Yeah, it's no big deal, and we can still get one of the guys we like. So for me on the running backs, obviously I like Stevenson in this area. Usually, we do have Harris. I'm not one of the guys that absolutely hates going with 2 running backs from the same team. I just don't generally like doing it that close together.
Mm-hmm.
Ronald Jones that was another guy I was going to talk about. I think that the guy here though is Madison, right?
Yeah. You just talked about it. Dorito's coming up, so good luck.
Yeah, he's probably going to take him, but just for me, Madison is the highest upside contingent running back there is. And Dalvin Cook might be starting the year on suspension, possibly. Who knows? We can't be sure that. He always misses games. That dude does not play a full season. Mm-hmm. And Madison always comes in and smashes. So, of all the guys here, like, that is the guy for me.
I agree. He's one of my higher owned running backs, especially when you get him as your running back 4. Like, that's kind of where you want to look for him. Yeah. And that's all right. You wanted Golladay the round before, so there you go. You would have just took Golladay, then you would have took Tua here, so you're all good.
Yeah. So it's basically what we were doing anyways. But yeah, I mean, like, the Madison thing is, he just said in the chat for the bit, how dare you, Travis? How dare you?
No, it's actually a great example of showing a draft together and just like talking through it and working through it, because this happens in like every draft, and it's going to happen like 4 or 5 times to you, and you have how quickly that 30-second timer goes, and you just have to adjust and move on, right? So
right, and it's why you should be having your players in the queue. I don't like to tip our hand so much, and put them in the queue while we're drafting if we can help it. But yeah, you should have your players in the queue. You should always have a backup plan. you can hope for some guy to follow you. You'd be like, oh man, I really want Madison to follow me here. And then he goes the one before, and instead of like overreacting, you could be like, all right, well, next man up. I got to make sure I know who I want to get, who makes sense for this team that I'm building right now.
Yeah.
So are we halfway through the draft? 8, 9. Yeah, we're more than halfway through the draft. And again, I don't hate the way the team's stacking up. We have a 2-3-5-1 build right now. When you have Hawkinson, because I consider him one of the like quote unquote elite tier tight ends, I would probably only be looking to go 2 tight ends. I'm not sure what your take is on that. Where would you be looking to take your next tight end generally? Is this like around where you'd be going, or would you be pushing it?
I think this is another trend that you asked me earlier, just like what I'm seeing. And I definitely think that grabbing a quarterback early and a tight end earlier, like even Hawkinson, Goddard, or Schultz, like that level, I think you're good just to go with 2, right? And I think you wait to the 18th round to get your next one, because there's so many there. And the people that are taking round 17, 18 players, like I just don't like any of those players more than a lot of those tight ends. So
that's a good point.
So I don't know. You're up here in another pick, but also, yeah, I won't say the name, but there is one other. Like, yeah, I was gonna. I mean, you could go tight end here. Like, was Albert O there? Are they the same bye week?
Alberto's by 9, and Hawkinson is 6.
Yeah, I don't hate that, because Hawkinson, you're locked in. Albert's just he's still kind of a risk, right? And you're still trying to
Absolutely
taking him a little bit early, but you don't have to take him.
Well, we're gonna take him because we had 2 seconds left.
But okay, but now you're done. We're done at tight end, and you could be done at quarterback.
Yeah, we're definitely done at quarterback. I can't imagine needing to draft anyone other than Lamar and Tua. Yep. Although this is gonna sound weird, and everyone's gonna yell at me and throw tomatoes. If I were to draft another quarterback when I have Lamar, it would be 18th round, and I would take Huntley.
I actually knew you were gonna go that way.
I know I like, to people that probably blows their mind, but if I'm gonna lock up that Baltimore quarterback position, and I just think it's because, not that I don't believe Lamar can finish the season or anything like that, but when he is hurt, I think Huntley is the highest upside fantasy backup quarterback there is.
No, and what weeks did he hit last year? Like, it was near those playoffs, right? So right. Like if you're the only one out of 490 people in this final, is that how many people are in the final that had Huntley and Lamar's out? Like,
yeah,
that's kind of fun leverage right there.
Yeah, and it's the reason why I was drafting Chuba last year when I was drafting McCaffrey. It's like I was getting McCaffrey in the first round, but who we thought was his backup was Chuba Hubbard. You could get him in the 18th round up until like he got steamed towards the end of August, early September. And it's like, well, I'm just throwing a dart anyway, so why don't I just lock up this one particular position for this particular team? All right, we are coming back up on the clock. We haven't said any names because we knew that Travis over here would steal some. Anyone that you see here, you want me to go through?
I'll get tight end off there, so we don't need to look at tight end.
Right.
I'd go with like David Bell or I don't know, a younger receiver. I would probably, just to kind of looking for that later breakout maybe. Or I don't hate Michael Carter either, but he had the same bye week. Like, he's fallen a little bit there.
Let's grab Bell.
I like Corey Davis too.
So in this little range of wide receivers, and I only didn't take him because we have Justin Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
I really like KJ Osborne.
I mean, seven touchdowns last year. It's crazy.
Yeah, 7. I mean, like, just look at his stats. He had 7 touchdowns, 655 yards on 82 targets, and he was the third option. And if Thielen, slows down, we say that every year right now about Thielen, but if he does slow down, the guy that's going to pick up that slack is KJ Osborne, or so you would think. So when you're getting Osborne, he would have been our what? Sixth wide receiver, seventh wide receiver,
Mm-hmm.
our sixth. So like if you can get him as your sixth or seventh, I just think he has some of the best upside of all the players in this range of wideouts or
Yeah,
in this range in general.
I like Osborne and Van Jefferson's another name that I love. Like I told you, Tim Patrick's another name. Like all those guys, like they're the third wide receivers, right? So they're even Josh Palmer there. I really like him. I think you can get him even later.
Right.
Just like they're on good. You want them to have a good quarterback, and it doesn't matter if they're wide receiver 3. Like, why do I want to draft Sammy Watkins? Like over these kind of guys.
Exactly. That's the name I was going to bring up. Why do I want to draft Sammy Watkins? I understand that KJ Osborne's a wide receiver 3, but his contingent value versus some of these other guys that are starters, it's just, yeah, I'd rather hit on week 8 to 17 KJ Osborne when he becomes the number 2 option. When it's him and Justin Jefferson just out there destroying secondaries.
Yeah, or Jefferson gets locked up, but Jefferson gets locked up on a game, and then it's Osborne. He can get you a long score or maybe a couple scores. Like I like that.
And I think it was against the Bears last year that he just absolutely crushed. He housed a long 60-yarder, and it's like you have him he's your 7th wide receiver. You're like, this is great. This is exactly what I drafted him for. I'm not drafting him to be in my lineup every single week. I'm drafting him because of what his upside can be. What's Sammy Watkins' upside realistically right now? 120 yards and a touchdown if you're lucky for his best game of the year.
And that's only week 1, and then he never plays again.
Exactly. So, yeah, give me some of those guys that are high upside. We will be coming back around here in a couple more picks, and we got 2, 3, 6, 2 right now. Now we're done at quarterback. We're done at tight end, most likely. Where would you want to be allocating a lot of your picks right now? Would you be looking to bolster our running back core? We only have Dobbins, Harris, and Walker.
Yeah, I'm going running back. I'm going Herbert. Just for my that's where I would go. But
for the
I
bet.
don't well, I don't mind James Robinson, like if you want to gamble a little bit there. That gives you I don't think you want to count on him to start out the season. But
so I do like Mostert in this range.
Okay.
We're gonna take Herbert, but
go with Mostert. I'm fine with that.
No, we'll take Herbert. But the reason for a team that we're building right now where I'm not in love with our running backs, I like a guy like Mostert because I know that he's technically not the number 1 in Miami, but he's going to Miami with his old offensive coordinator, and that guy's probably going to trust him with the offense, especially towards the beginning of the year. And I like that. I think I can rely on Mostert to get me some points while I'm waiting for a guy like Kenneth Walker to break out. You know what I mean?
Well, then you had I forgot all about our Dolphins stack. That would have fit perfectly. Like we could try to get 8 Dolphins on this team too.
My flip side guy in this range that I like is Davis Price for San Francisco, just because we know what San Francisco can do with that position. So it's a complete dart throw, but if he ends up being their guy this year, for whatever reason, like if Mitchell gets hurt or whatever, then you could have some potentially high upside with him. So if I was building if I started off running back in the first 4 rounds, if I had Javonte Williams and I don't know, Joe Mixon, say, then I want a Davis Price because he's just pure lottery ticket for me.
No, that's a good way to look at it for sure. Just try to figure those things out, talk them through in your head, just how the draft's falling and then how you can get upside later in the draft. So I like that. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Grab them here.
We could do that, or we could grab. You know what? Let's just do it. We talked about him.
Yeah, I would do that.
Let's grab him.
Oh, I thought you were going Mostert.
No. I don't think we need Mostert. Maybe we could have had Mostert. I don't want to go Mostert with the full. I don't want a full Miami onslaught. I don't think, though. I think he would make sense for a team like this, but not when I'm already banking on that passing game so much. I think you'd limit your playoff value at that point. of what you're doing weeks 14, 15, 16, 17.
Yeah, I was thinking about it more too. I don't know if anyone's really thought about this, but kind of like almost drafting for chunks of the season, especially in
Mm-hmm.
these big tournaments, right? Like I want some guys like week 1 2 through 5, and then I want guys from 6 through week 12, and then it's like a guy like this Price, or at the like he's the guy you want when the playoffs come along. So you just want these other guys to get you to that point, and then you're hoping that he's your leverage and hits there in the home stretch. So I think I try to do that a little bit more,
Yeah.
where I'm thinking about all stages of the year and how these players are gonna perform.
Got some fans in the chat. DKB says, wish James would do more pod/streams. Always love hearing his thoughts. So, I mean, I'm sure we'll end up doing another one before the start of the football year here at Spike Week with you at some point.
Well, appreciate the comments. Thanks.
The other thing I want to talk about with you that I am completely on board with is everyone's all about week 17. And it was you that tweeted out, no, guys, we need to be looking at week 16 because it is technically the hardest week of the playoffs to advance. Obviously, you want to win week 17 because you're trying to win $2 million. But in order to even get there, week 16 is brutal to try to get through.
Nah, I mean, it just makes sense to me. Just like the whole goal is to have a chance, right? In the end.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you're going to have that chance is if you can win week 16. So like all those teams in week 16 are going to be super teams. They're going to be all the top players from all the other. I mean, you get a chance in the finals. That's all you can ask for. Like it doesn't. I mean, you could draft a perfect team for the finals, but you're
It's got to
probably
get
not.
there.
You're probably not even going to advance out of round 1, to be honest.
Yeah. Or get to the first round of the playoffs. I mean, you could have I had a team on DraftKings last year that scored like 300 or 400 more points than any of my other teams and bounced round 1, gone, just out of there. Had Debo, it had Cooper Kupp, didn't matter, out. So yeah, to your point, you're trying to get to that week 17, and week 16 is 1 out of 16 players advance. That's it. You have to beat 15 other players 1 week, and it's not easy to do.
Yeah, it's yeah. Where are you going here?
Well, I
Probably receiver or
yeah,
running.
I would like to look at the receivers. Any of these guys jumping out at you?
I like Duvernay just to stack with Lamar, and I like Chenault. I think it's worth taking shots this late. I don't like Shepard. I'm not drafting him. I like Brian Edwards. I think he's worth a shot, especially getting traded. Like Falcons have nobody. Like he's worth.
So my Brian Edwards rant last night was
I didn't listen. Sorry.
no, it's fine. But my Brian Edwards rant is basically the last 2 years we get excited about guys going to Atlanta, and because it's like a change and like they need targets. It's like, but Brian Edwards got the opportunity in Oakland and he couldn't capitalize in Oakland with a better quarterback, in a better offense, in a better situation. So why are we going to see Brian Edwards do anything better in Atlanta?
No, I mean that's viable pushback. I can see that, especially like Derek Carr loved the guy, right? He talked him up nonstop. It seemed like they were best buddies. He tried to force the ball to him, and yeah, it still didn't work. And Zay Jones is the guy.
Yeah,
so
yeah. So
I mean, it's probably banking too much on opportunity, like potential opportunity. I'm thinking, but I just like that he's still young too, and I don't know, give him one more shot. Maybe it's closer to an 18th round pick, or maybe it's back in the days when we had 20 rounds. That's when it was a better pick.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. It's just for me, I'd rather take a guy with insane upside right here, where I think like I know nothing about Tyquan Thornton with New England, what the hell he's going to do, but I know he's the fastest guy in the draft, and I just need dudes in round 17 or 18 to get me 2 or 3 weeks. Generally, that's what I'm looking for from these guys. Otherwise, I drafted horribly wrong. Right?
Yeah, no, I mean, or it could be a Eskridge from last year, right? And you never see the field and he's just a wasted spot.
Absolutely.
So you're definitely gambling on those. And I would say you probably have like maybe 15% chance of those kind of players actually going to give you three weeks of viable scoring.
Right. And to me, it's like Edwards, we seen him just not do it ever. Like his viability for most years, like maybe one or two games here or there.
Nope. Yeah. Oh, look, you could go Cedric Wilson, triple stack the Dolphins. Just kidding.
I don't know what I like here. Let's go Visca. Let's just have fun. Visca's fun. I don't have a lot of LaVisca this year. I thought they were going to move him, to be honest, just with the rebuild that they did to that receiving core over the season. And obviously they still could if they really wanted to. But I don't know, man. Like he's a guy that I think he's shown flashes, unlike Edwards, right? We've seen him potentially have a shot at doing something and just never get there. So I'm finally giving him one more year. Maybe I'm a hypocrite. Could be.
I honestly think in best ball you want to find all those kind of guys that have like bad narrative, like people just don't want them, people wrote them off, people hate them. It's like these guys are starting players, probably going to start every game. There's a lot of value there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't hate it. Are you looking running back? Is that what you're thinking here?
I'm not opposed to another running back. Like I like our running back core. We have Dobbins, Harris, Kenneth Walker, Khalil Herbert, and Tyrion Davis Price. I don't think it's the strongest RB core. I wouldn't hate having a 6. And there's some guys here that I do like.
Mm-hmm.
Haskins jumps out at me. I don't hate having the backup to Derrick Henry. The other guy that jumps out at me is my favorite guy. He's probably my most owned is Dearness Johnson.
So is he signed with the Browns, but they haven't? I don't know. How does that work? He hasn't agreed to it, or what? Because is he still in limbo on that?
I'm not exactly sure, but he's gonna be with the Browns. It looks like, and yeah, it kind of hurts him because obviously we know that they're going to be starting with Chubb and Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
The original theory was that Hunt was going to get moved, and they were going to run Chubb, Dearness Johnson. The thing is, though, if it doesn't matter which one goes down, if Chubb or Hunt goes down, Dearness Johnson slides in and he gets opportunity. He doesn't just become a number 2; he gets on the field. Whether
I like that thinking, yeah.
So you're not looking for just one guy to go down; it's one of 2 guys goes down, and Dearness Johnson gets some opportunity.
I mean, he looked good when he was on the field, in my opinion. So he looks like he can handle a pretty sizable workload.
Right. So I just think he's a smash at 18. Like if we're talking about just absolute guys that look good in the league,
mm-hmm.
You look through these guys. I think that Dearness Johnson has proven it over most of these guys from last year.
And he was one of my higher own pre-draft and pre-free agency. Like I just thought, yeah, he just seemed silly where he was going, and he's just like a perfect running back 6, like you said. But since the draft and since free agency, I've kind of dialed my exposure off of him. But I like what you're saying, though. I should put him back kind of in that last round range. I don't hate that.
And that's the thing. He's the last. Like you're grabbing him in the 18th. Mm-hmm. You're grabbing him in the 18th, and he's not even getting drafted in most drafts.
Yeah, if Hunt gets traded, he's probably like a 13th, 14th round pick at that point.
Oh, absolutely. He shoots way up the board. Yeah. So we are done with our draft. Let's go over our team. We got Lamar and Tua. We got J.K. Dobbins, Damian Harris, Kenneth Walker, Khalil Herbert, Tyrion Davis Price, and Dearness Johnson at running back. Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, Kenny Golladay, David Bell, Devin Duvernay, and Laviska Shenault. I actually really like our wide receiver core.
Yeah, it's a strong build. It kind of gives you a little bit of everything.
And then we got Hawkinson and Akui Boonham as our 2 tight ends, which is really strong in my opinion as well. I mean, our running backs aren't my favorite, but I think it's a unique running back build. I obviously people are going to be stacking Dobbins with Lamar, but I don't think it's going to be. I still think people have that little bit of hesitancy to stack any running back with their quarterback.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a game theory advantage that you could start taking advantage of a little bit, like even like Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and start doing it a little bit more. And like I wouldn't do it all the time, but I think it's not a bad play at all.
Well, to your point, Aaron Jones had 3 touchdown catches in a game last year. I know it was middle of the season, but if that middle of the season game is week 17 or week 16, and you're one of the only people with Aaron Rodgers with Aaron Jones, I mean, now you have such an advantage over the field. It's not even funny.
Yeah, and I think just team stacks in general should be talked about more. It doesn't always have to be that quarterback and the top receiver. Like, just if you like a team, go grab them.
Dorito says, "Had fun, boys. Sorry for all the snipage. Banned. You're banned for the next draft that I do. So I hope you enjoyed it because now you're not allowed in the next one." You have any closing thoughts before we jump out of here?
Just like you said earlier, just have fun with these. There's going to be options for you this year. If $25 doesn't fit your budget, like there's going to be puppies coming. There's DK has a $5 tournament. If you don't like the size of the DK one, and there's going to be other options. And it's the best. This is the best we've had in best ball in year, like since it started. So let's just enjoy it this year. Let's just be smart and just have fun. Just get in there with the community, talk to each other. Anyone that has questions, they can hit you up, I'm sure, or Eric, or anybody at Spike Week. Discord's amazing, and
jump in the Discord. The Spike Week Discord is always popping. There's different strategy sections. Myself, Bime4, Silas are always lurking around the Discord to see what people are saying or to jump in and give our opinion. And I do got to get out of here, but we did get asked to see Team 11, which is Huron River Rat, and give our thoughts. I don't know if he wants me to roast it or not. I was roasting the hell out of teams last night. So we'll just run through it, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do with it. So he's got Matt Ryan, Jared Goff, Zach Wilson for a 3 QB build, DeAndre Swift, Joe Mixon. Wow, he went Swift Mixon. That's interesting. James Cook, Kenneth Gainwell, Jamal Williams. I don't like that. Michael Pittman, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Hunter Renfrow, Brandon Ayuk, Christian Watson, Jameson Williams, Alec Pierce, Odell, and Kyle Pitts and Hayden Hurst. I don't love grabbing, I'm not a guy that's opposed to stacking. I don't love grabbing Williams with Swift. I don't know. I don't think that's a backfield I need to lock up, quote unquote.
And then they have Goff too, so
yeah.
And then they got off the Lions. We got Hawkinson. He's probably
and Jameson
like
Williams.
4 touchdowns in the finals.
Yeah, and he went Jameson Williams. So he went full Detroit onslaught. It's not a team that I'm looking to onslaught, to be honest with you.
Oh, so this brings up my point, and looking at our team and looking at this team, and what I've thought this year too. I haven't brought it up yet, but it's more of you have 18 rounds, and you want to have a balanced build, right? You want to have a team that can get you advance into that playoffs and then advance from there each time. But doing that, you have to almost sacrifice one position. And I feel like the team you built there and we built together, we sacrificed a little bit at running back, but not like crazy amount. But I think all our other positions, we don't have to worry about those positions week to week. Running back, we're hoping those 6 guys, we're hoping in the end 3 or 4 of those guys are still standing, right? That's the hope. and
exactly.
And one of them breaks out. But that's what I've seen this year is that you need to be more balanced in each position. Like you can't sacrifice quite as much. Like you can't sacrifice 2 positions. If you want to sacrifice 1 position, I think that's okay and you can get away with it. And I usually like to do that at tight end because that position sucks and they score no points.
Yeah.
So but I'm even switching that up too. So that's my last advice.
Yeah, and Jason says week 17 Lions versus Bears, and it's like, yeah, well, just real quick because I do got to go. But if you're getting a team through to week 17, right? And you have Goff, you have Swift, you have Williams, both of the Williams, and you have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Was that 6 players from the Detroit Lions that I just named? You're banking. You have too many spots that are locked up with Detroit, and not all of them can do enough to win you the $2 million. You literally have to hit on every other guy.
You don't have Herbert and you don't have Hawkinson, and they're the only two going to score in week 17 as well. So that's rough.
Yeah, absolutely valid. But my point is like, yeah, you can stack teams, but once you get there, look at Liam's team from last year when he won. He had a skinny stack with Josh Allen, I believe. He didn't go nuts stacking. He had stacks, but he didn't go overboard with it. I think going overboard with it helps you get through to the playoffs and then murders you in the playoffs, because now you need guys to actually, because it becomes a 1-week game at that point. It's not a 17-week game anymore, or a 14-week game, or whatever you want to say, if that makes sense. Anyways, guys, remember to join the Discord, subscribe, like, all that other stuff, and we will catch you later.